Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. I'm Magic, and with me is Aaron Halterman, the lead handicapper over at RacingDudes.com and the author of the Inside Track wagering guides that we put out, as well as the author for the premium products picks that you can purchase over at RacingDudes.com. And Aaron, what you wanted to do today was talk to us about how you were able to hit the early pick 5 at Gulfstream Park on Florida Derby Day, and how the wagering guide is able to help people just cash really nice tickets.
Yeah, so we had a few people that were requesting it during some of our live shows or some of our podcasts that we do, saying, I wish you guys did a video on not just like picks and who you like, but how you structured a ticket and kind of what your mindset was to putting together a ticket. So yeah, we had a really, really good day at Gulfstream Park on the guide. So if you bought the Gulfstream Park Florida Derby wagering guide, you did very, very well. And one of the big ones we hit was a $1,480 cash on a $96 ticket, the early pick 5 races 1 through 5 on Florida Derby Day. So I thought this is a good chance, and we won't just always do ones we win. We'll also do some that we lose and kind of make this an ongoing thing. Where it's like, here we went 4 out of 5. This is maybe where we screwed up, or maybe it was just like, well, it's a long shot. We never could have hit it anyway. We weren't that upset about it. But we'll kick it off on a good note with this one. So yeah, let's talk about this early pick 5 and kind of go over like what we did here.
Sure, and we'll be sharing here on the screen as well the what the ticket looked like that Aaron had, as well as the horses involved. So the first race, we're starting out. It's the first of 2 races that are on synthetic. They're both in this early pick 5. So right away, you've kind of got to go into this either feeling confident about the synthetic at Gulfstream Park, which we still haven't had 12 full months of it yet, or feeling it like you need to go kind of deep here. You went 4 deep in this first leg. Is it because you were less confident on synthetic, or was it specifically this field?
No, it wasn't because I'm less confident on synthetic. I think that's one of the advantage a person like myself or Mike Somich certainly as well have maybe over people that haven't played Gulfstream day in and day out. They card a lot of these synthetic races now, right? I mean, you might get 4 or 5 on a Wednesday or Thursday. Well, listen, you got to handicap it. People want to know who's going to win, so you got to pay attention. So what happened was early in the meet, closers on the outside. They were winning like crazy. They've kind of got it fixed. It's kind of a little bit more of a fair track. So I went 4 deep here because I thought this was maybe one of the most wide open races on the entire card of 14 races on Florida Derby Day. I went with the 4, the 6, the 7, and the 9. And it was kind of just the idea of let's just try to get through this. Now the 6 ends up scratching. So that was that was kind of one we threw off there. So it was the 4, the 7, the 9. I played the 4 Benefactor, who won the race mainly because it looked like this horse was going to be the controlling speed in the race. And like I said earlier in the meet, probably wouldn't have used the 4, but the course had been playing a little bit more fair. So put the 4 on top there and got this horse home. One other big thing about the 4, had 3 races over the surface, did have a win at the level and at the distance. And then was 3rd last time out when he tried the synthetic surface as well. So there was a lot I liked about the 4. I felt those horses were the ones to use. I was pretty confident we would get through that leg.
What's funny what you mentioned about the course changing is one thing we're doing over at RacingDudes.com is if you're a premium subscriber, every 2 weeks now, we're having an exclusive premium subscriber, premium members tournament, a betting tournament that basically is a practice for if you want to see how you do for NHC feeder tournaments, that sort of a thing. And as part of that, we're doing a live show kind of covering the back half of that. Mike Somich and I were live last Friday, so the day before this race, and the last one at Gulfstream Park was on synthetic, and the whole build up into that race, Mike Somich kept saying, you can't go gate to wire at synthetic all meet long. You can't go gate to wire. And I said, I want this horse to go gate to wire just to spite you. Gosh darn it, Aaron, that's exactly what he did there. And hopefully Mike learned his lesson and used the 4 because you were very smart to do so in the spot.
Yeah, and I another thing I want to point out, we went deep in some of these races early because we had the single in the last. So the first thing you're going to do when you're going to pick 5 or pick 4, you're going to analyze every race, and you're looking for those races you could go short. So, early on, I was able to spread a little more than maybe, sometimes you can because I had that strong single in the 5th that we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, was able to kind of go 4 deep here. Benefactor, the horse that won, was probably the 3rd of 4 on the ticket there. So that kind of shows you, it's great that we had that single so we could go a little bit deeper in this first leg.
And it was an exciting, if you bet the ticket with us, it was an exciting race and an exciting finish because you had two horses that were on your ticket, Aaron, very clearly going to be winning. So they were a couple lengths ahead of everyone else in the stretch. You're just rooting for the better price home. And a lot of times, especially when the shorter price starts to take the lead from the other one, you're like, okay, the 3-1 second choice Farley is going to come in.
Yes.
Benefactor 8-1 powers back. So you come home by a neck with that better price on top. So really at that point where you're like, this is going to be a good day for us.
Not quite. It was just one race. And we had the winner either way. Now I'll say this, let's talk about the next one, because when this happened, I'll tell a couple stories, but when this race happened and we got it, I had a great feeling. So let's go on to race 2 here.
Race 2, we're going to be turf sprinting here, and this is one of those spots where when I handicap races for the Magic Mike Show, when we do pick fours, I usually end up going deeper in turf sprints because, especially with a good sized field, you're going to have everybody get complicated trips, and you have to figure out who's going to get the best one. A trip will make everyone's race in this spot. And yes, it was coming down to the wire again, but you didn't have a bang bang where you had both horses here. You had a 7-1 shot Ghost Liner. You had Granger County there at the 5-2 favorite was not on the ticket. How nervous were you?
Listen, I thought this was a place where you could throw off of the 8. I thought the horse would take money, and I thought, this is a good spot to try to beat the favorite. I still went 4 deep because I'm with you. I thought this was a very wide open race. Terrified is how I would describe me. And, Jared was sitting there watching it with me, and he could probably, vouch for that. I was very scared because these first 2 legs, I was not confident at all compared to the next 3. I thought if we could get by the first 2, we had a great shot here. Tried to keep this ticket. I played $96. I always try to keep the pick 5 tickets at $100 or less. So I was, I didn't really want to add more horses. Wanted to keep it right there at the $96 for everybody. Yeah, the number 4 Ghost Liner, I thought, like you said, great trip. I thought inside speed would get to the lead, would be the one they have to run down, and going 5 furlongs at Gulfstream Park. Not sure that anybody was going to catch this horse. Thank God they didn't. But boy, Granger County came flying. Like I said, I had the 5, I had the 7, I had the 3. They were really nowhere to be found as terms of trying to win here. The reason why I didn't play Granger County, it had been a long time since this horse had been on the turf. And had success on the turf, but why did they take this horse away from that? And then, gets back here. It's kind of a weird spot. It's a tougher race than the horse had been running in. I just thought this was one we could beat. Well, we did beat the 8 Granger County, but it was dicey down the lane.
There's a 2-race win streak that ends there. The horse won on synthetic at Gulfstream and then on dirt, loses on turf, but just by a nose. So, all right, you're through the first 2 legs here. We're going to the first stakes of the day, and that's the Grade 3 Orchid. And you were 4 deep in the first 2 legs. You're 3 deep here, and it's a smaller field, only 6 horses here. So talk to me about why you constructed the ticket that way and your thoughts on the race.
Well, I'll start by saying I think I made a mistake. I really only liked the 6 and the 7 a whole lot. And then at the end of the day, I threw the 2 in just thinking, well, Grand Motion is just a trainer who beats me. It's just as simple as that. He actually beat me later on the card when I didn't use him. So I just was like, I better throw this 2 in. I've got that single in the last to kind of give me a little bit, of leeway to maybe add a horse that maybe I couldn't have added before. So I did throw that 2 in. I just really liked the 7 Family Way coming second off of a layoff. Last time out was beaten by a horse named Virginia Joy, who I think is very good. And I just thought this horse would really improve second off the layoff. Getting to 1.5 miles, I thought would help the horse as well. And, she just ran really well. This was another one. It really, there was never any moments where you thought you were going to lose this race.
She was the 2-1 morning line. Second choice ends up being the 9-5 favorite and winning almost by 2 lengths. I think about halfway down the stretch, you were probably feeling pretty confident. So now you've got 2 legs left in the pick 5 at Gulfstream, the early pick 5 on Saturday, April 2nd, if you're following along. And now we're going back to the synthetic. You went 4 deep in the first leg. You're going to go 4 deep again here. I'm noticing a pattern, but was there a race that was just, you thought was pretty wide open, or how did you see this?
The problem with this race, there were 2 problems, okay? In one horse, 2 problems. The number 5 Quality G had the best speed figure, but it was just 1 race that the horse was in, but definitely looked like a standout from a speed figure standpoint. But it was 1 race, and it was on the dirt. That's a problem. Now we're on the synthetic, And by the way, it was a sprint, and now we're going 2 turns. It was at Tampa, and now we're at Gulfstream. So a whole lot of problems. Probably, to be quite honest, a horse, some days you would just throw off and think we can beat the favorite here. Here was the issue. Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz Jr. I didn't have the guts to throw the horse off. I really didn't want to use him. And a lot of people would say, well, if you're going to go 4 deep, you cannot use the favorite. That is stupid. Let me tell you guys something. What's even dumber is missing it and losing to Pletcher and Irad. So I'm going to tell you right now, this horse was maybe the last one on my ticket. And I decided to go with this horse and put him on there. And it ended up working out. Obviously, the horse wins. Didn't look great, but took the synthetic well enough to beat these runners. Obviously, you play 4 horses. You don't want the favorite to win. But you also knew, hey, I got a single in the next. I think I'm going to get a price in a couple of these legs. I'm not too worried about it. It's just a $96 ticket. So threw them on there, got the job done. So we had 2 long prices and then 2 favorites going into the last leg.
And you were running 1-2 in this spot. So again, about halfway in the stretch there, you Quality G or Hall of Dreams. Hall of Dreams, 5-2 second choice. So this time you don't get the better of the 2 prices, but 5-2 versus 8-5. That's pretty close compared to the big gap we had earlier. So
and just to throw in with Hall of Dreams, that to me seemed like a really logical horse. A horse that had 2 races on the synthetic, and last time out, even though it was a while back, 126 days, lost to Golden Glider, who's turned out to be a decent horse. I mean, he's not great, but he's decent enough. So you thought, okay, experience going 2 turns, experience on the synthetic. Last time out was second to a horse named Golden Glider, who's come back to win. You just kind of had a feeling that horse might be able to win. So honestly, it probably would have paid closer to maybe 2,000 if this horse wins, because you beat another heavy favorite, but it didn't happen.
That's all right. You were through the first 4 legs, and now the one that everyone just loves to sweat. You've got a single into the last leg of the pick 5, the early pick 5. So talk to me about, first of all, why did you choose to single Main Event, who's the 2-1 favorite by the time they went off? And how confident were you as the minutes were counting down at Gulfstream?
Extremely confident in this horse. This is one I was, other than maybe Kathleen O. Well, I shouldn't say that, because Fearless I was very confident in as well, but he wasn't part of any kind of sequence. Kathleen O later was a part of a sequence. I was very confident in her. After those 2, probably most confident in Main Event. This is another one. If you paid attention to Gulfstream all year, you kind of knew this horse was going to show up with a big effort. It was 0 for 2 on the dirt. First time on the turf. It just looked really powerful. A big win on January 30th. And then last time out, got beat in a first stakes race. So went right from a maiden to a stakes, but got beat a neck by a horse named Coinage, who had a ton of, back class and just more experience. And really, like, you left that race thinking, you know what? If Main Event had another race under his belt, probably would have won. Right. So then we get in this spot. And for me, it's like, yeah, I don't really like a lot of these other horses in the race. I had respect for Smokin' Tea, the 2 horse, but I really thought the 5 Main Event could get the job done. And then it kind of came down. I did like the 8. The 8 was Red Danger, but you look at it, Red Danger's coming out of the exact same race as Main Event. And we just talked about, okay, Main Event beat him. He finished second. Red Danger was 4th. Then you look at Red Danger. There was no reason for him to get beat by Main Event in that race, right? He had all this experience, the stakes experience, where Main Event's first stakes, he still finished ahead of him. So I just didn't see where they were going to turn the tables on Main Event with Red Danger in this spot. So I thought it was a pretty good single. Obviously, when the race is going on, you're very nervous because, you got a lot of money on the line here to this horse. But there was really no doubt entering the stretch that Main Event was going to kick clear.
And I'm glad you brought up Red Danger, because you had to pick 5 that ends up cashing. Congratulations. That's a very nice ticket that you put together, under $100 as well, for it to pay out as nicely. What was the final payout on that?
It was 1,480 and change. I can't remember
40 cents.
exactly.
Yep, there it is. I was struggling to find the number on the chart there, but so 1,480 and change for $96, a very nice return. Less than that if you include the scratch in the first leg. But in the pick 4, something that people who like to play pick 5s is they'll roll it back the next one, and you play the same 4 legs. The first 3 legs of the early pick 4 here, races 2, 3, and 4, match your pick 5 ticket but you did add Red Danger in this pick 4 here. So you were at least a little not confident, but kind of like a backup, a safety, just in case the 5 doesn't fire.
Yeah, that's absolutely all it was. When I had that single in the last, I thought, well, you back it up with a pick 4. Your second choice is Red Danger. If that horse, does happen to win, you're probably gonna get your money back plus some a little bit. I think the pick 4 paid 160, 159.85. For this sequence. And if Red Danger wins, maybe it's like 250, something like that. And then, you get obviously, I don't know what that profit would be. I can't do the math in my head, but you have about $100 back. So at least, you're not, losing everything if the 5 loses in this spot. So I think with it being the last leg, it's kind of easier to set something up like that. That's just kind of a gut call, in my opinion, of whether to do that. But like I said, I just had a respect for Red Danger, but at the same time, I didn't think it was worth, doubling up that pick 5 ticket, because it's just like, I don't want to spend that money, number one. And number two, I just feel like Main Event is good enough to single in the pick 5 ticket.
So if you had purchased the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide and you played the early pick 5 and the early pick 4 tickets, you invested less than $150. And after race 5, forget everything else that you might have bet or not, you're already up over $1,600. Aaron, I'd say that's a pretty good value for $40 or any of the monthly subscriptions where the wagering guides are included.
Yeah, that was a good one. And when you're playing these pick 5s, the big thing you got to remember is some days they're just not going to work out no matter what you try to do. I mean, you look at the guides that we've done for Gulfstream, the Holy Bull, we did the same thing. We had a big cash early in the pick 5. And then you go to the Fountain of Youth and we missed them. And that's just because they're very tough tickets to get home. But when you get a home like this, you get rewarded big time. And like you said, it's noon, 1 o'clock, and you're already up $1,600. Well, you could have a lot of fun the rest of the day and not have to sweat it out. And trust me, we did have a lot of fun that day and not sweat out too much. So thankfully, the rest of the card went pretty well on that day as well. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's high risk, high reward. That's why, you want to keep your tickets reasonable. You don't want to sink all your bankroll, early, but, keep it, for me, keep it around that $100 mark for a pick 5. And like I said, you get 14 times the return on this particular one.
Yeah, it doesn't suck.
No, not at all.
If you're interested in the inside track to the any of our future inside track wagering guides that we're going to have out, we have the Bluegrass Stakes, which is coming up this weekend. That will be, what is that going to be? The 9th of April. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we have the Apple Blossom Handicap inside track. And then, get ready, everybody. It's Kentucky Derby time. Kentucky Derby, Preakness Stakes, Belmont Stakes, all following directly after that. Remember, all of these inside track wagering guides are included with any monthly subscription, whether it's Aaron's premium products, the Rocket Picks that Aaron also puts together that is exclusively pick 4s and pick 5s, or if it's the Somobombs. Make sure you get, it's one of those subscriptions. All of the wagering guides are included with that. And remember that tournament challenge that we have every 2 weeks, you get exclusive access to that as well. So go over to racenews.com, become a premium member today. Hit like if you like the video, subscribe if you really like it. Tell us below what you thought about this. Did you cash with us? Did you play the tickets with us? We want to hear from you. We'll see you at the track.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,